All right. This is an interesting question from Renata. She says, Dr. Lisle, I'm a 35-year-old female, and I'm interested in becoming a single mother by choice via a sperm donor. I always wanted to be a mother, and I'm certain that I won't find a suitable partner before my biological clock runs out. However, from listening to your Beat Your Genes podcasts, I've learned that personality is largely genetic, and therefore I am wary of having a child with a man I've never met and don't know, the sperm donor. I'm afraid that since I don't know the father, the child could be very low conscientious, very emotionally unstable, or aggressive. I don't know if I could handle these issues as a single mom. I also don't know what the consequences are of raising a child without a father. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, really good question. And probably if you want to go to sperm banks that are going to give you a lot of information on the personality of the donor. Okay, so that is a big deal. And so if they don't give you, if and God knows you would want to go to a place that has a reputation for very high integrity about that kind of an issue. So and if they don't give you information on the sperm donor, then absolutely don't do it. In other words, that person, just think about what exquisite and important preferences you have when it comes to mating. You're like, nah, that guy's too little, too this. Ooh, he's a little too that. No, too big, too small, too fat, too thin, too tall, too short, too broke. I guess you can't be too rich or too thin, but no, you probably can be. You could be too thin as a male, but you probably can't be too rich. But you can certainly be too loud. You can chew with your mouth open. You can be disagreeable. You can have too many tattoos. You can pick too many fights. You can be too argumentative. You could be too cheap with the waitresses. Why do you think you're so picky in mating and that you're 35 years old and you haven't got a partner? Answer: because you're really fussy. Why? You're really fussy because your genetic code is demanding that you get somebody really good to do what? Father your child. Okay, so you can actually see what's going on here. You are actually, your whole life has been nothing other than trying to pick a sperm donor. That's what it's all about. That's what romance and love is. Okay, so it's no surprise that that now we find out way deep into the game that the personality and the looks and the intelligence of your offspring are absolutely and utterly dependent upon the genetic combination. So so of course you should be extremely concerned about that, and so unless you can find a donor, a donor place that gives you that kind of information, then don't do it. Okay, so that's what I would tell you. And what was the other thing that you wanted to know?
I think it was all in the, okay, let me go back to it. Sorry. Well, she wanted to know, she said that she didn't think she'd be able to handle these issues as a single mom. What were the consequences of raising a child without a father are?
None. There are no consequences. Okay, so child does not need a father for anything. The notion that they need a role model is complete BS. So this is just classic psychodynamic ignorance. There is no need for a father whatsoever other than to give the mom a break, okay, and to protect and provide for a mom that would have been extremely useful in the Stone Age environment and increase the likelihood of the child surviving. But you don't have that problem now. So nope, you single moms are 100% competent at raising children. Children are little biological replicatory devices that will go through series of growth stages that are natural to the species, and they don't need a man around for any of it. So neither do they need a mom. They don't need a mom or a dad. A kid is just fine being raised by his dad. Never needs to have a mother in their life. And
do they need any parent? I mean,
yeah. In other words, they need somebody to feed them. And their emotional life is a hell of a lot better if they have a consistent feedback that people care. But the notion of the John Bowlby studies in orphanages where kids weren't touched for 3 months, yeah, there's a very decent possibility that if you went through that kind of incredible deprivation, there might be some impact. Probably not. Those studies were not well done, and the reason why those children weren't interacting with anybody was probably because they had very odd characteristics even as infants. So the truth of the matter is that all a child needs is basic survival apparatus, and that child will develop into the personality that it was designed to be. So that's how that goes. But anyway, this lady, whoever it is going to be an extremely competent parent, easily capable of providing for that child everything that it needs. But make sure that if you're going to build a house, which is what's going to happen, make sure that you've got good materials. And that's the materials or the genetic code on the other side.
Well, one of the viewers is upset to hear you say that a child has no need for a father.
Nope, none at all. I mean, they can be upset, but this is the sort of shocking thing about human nature that nobody knew, and became first evident in the mid-1980s with the monozygotic twin studies, and now has been confirmed in the last 35 years of research. Children are incredibly resilient to trauma and to abandonment and to everything else. And so they are survival and reproduction machines. They are incredibly resilient. And so the fact that their feelings aren't so resilient, in other words, you can have, you could sprain your ankle and cry, and you can not make the cut on the 7th grade basketball team and cry. You can go through difficult experiences when you're getting bad feedback, but it's not going to impact your adult functioning. This is extremely important to understand. So no, a child absolutely does not need a father for anything.
Well, she's saying that there's so much research proving young men without fathers are responsible for much of the violence in our society today. Nearly every single school shooting is a fatherless male. Is that true?
Yeah. Okay. So but she's not understanding what she's looking at. So it's going to turn out that the children that come from homes where the father has not been present, why is that true? That's because the father is a flake and an irresponsible human being, and the woman who mated with that person is characteristic of making very poor mating choices. If we also when we see those things, we're looking at the genetic code. Okay, so that's what's happening. So if you looked at the IQ and you looked at the personalities of people who come from mothers who are single mothers, you're going to find that the IQs are vastly lower. I don't mean a little bit. I mean vastly lower. The average IQ of the average child from a single mother is going to be at least 30 to 40 percentile lower than the average child that comes from a family that's intact. That's not causal. In other words, the lack of a father doesn't cause the low IQ. It's a derivative of the fact of the people that live their lives that way have much lower intelligence, much less stability, and much less conscientiousness. So this is what we call C-no genes research. This is precisely exactly what you see in the adverse childhood events inventories that have been promulgated by the World Health Organization. The notion that early childhood events of trauma cause damage, they do not. Okay, so when you control for monozygotic twin studies raised apart, one child which goes through all kinds of traumatic experiences, another one that doesn't, you find no differences in adult functioning between those two. Okay, so all you're looking at is people that come from genes that are inherently unstable and low functioning, and then they will do unstable, low functioning things. Okay, so that's how that works. So understandable mistake. In fact, what this lady is talking about is one of the great catastrophic mistakes of causality in the history of the world. So the social sciences are now awash in a misunderstanding of why it is that things work the way they work. They're thinking that the reason why children are unstable and dangerous and violent has to do with the fact that they came from unstable, dangerous, and violent environments. That is not true.